Well, I want to give you a little update on, I was trying to modify these magazines. These are for the AR47, which is the AR15 that fires the 7.62 by 39 AK-47 round, right? Two of these magazines, these two, are from C Products. These other four are AR Stoner, but I noticed the follower, the plastic follower that pushes up the rounds, it says ASC. So AR Stoner might be ARC, might be the same thing. Now I heard that C Products works better. Now, when I was at the range, I'm not sure if I might have just used the AR Stoner / I think it's ASC. It's got an ASC follower in there. That's why it's stamped. Magazines. I don't know if I even used the C Products, but I noticed that when you push the rounds out of the C Products magazine, they seem to, let's see if I push it this way, they go out nice and easy. It's kind of hard to get my finger in there. There's a slight difference, very slight. This one is the AR Stoner. Like I said, the follower in there says ASC. The other thing is probably this Spitzler type ammo with a real point on it's probably work better than this round nose stuff with the soft point, because it'll ride up off the edge there. But this lip right here, these lips right here, they're a little bit further in than these. And what I also did, this is a AR Stoner magazine. Again, it has an ASC follower in it, the plastic follower. What I did was, I noticed where the round was coming out, like you can see right up on the top here. I put 2 white dots, and I ground down right there, also on an angle, going like this, so the round will pop up out of there. Plus, I opened up this more, and I grounded at an angle, so the round would slide in there. In other words, slide out better. It's not a sharp corner, it's grounded in an angle like this, so this would be flat facing the brass part. Then I also previously crimped these channels down right here at this edge, because these channels would catch the back of the round. Now, one other thing I did, I don't have an AK-47, right? And I bought AK-4 or AK-47 magazines by mistake one time, and I pulled out the spring from the AK-47 magazine, and I compared it to the spring that was in this AR-47 magazine. You would think they'd be about the same. No, the one out of the AK-47 is a lot longer. And so I put the AK-47 spring in this. I'm not going to use those AK-47 magazines anyway, because I don't want an AK-47. I wanted the AR-47. I think I'm going to get this running 100% perfect. But I noticed now I could slide these rounds out no problem without them catching. See that? See that? They slide right the hell out. They were catching like crazy before, especially these round ones, the round nose ones. And with this spring in here, one of the like I was able to run these magazines with about 10 rounds, not 30. And when I put more rounds in it, they wouldn't pop up and fast enough to catch the bolt sometimes. You know, I really didn't have bad results though, considering the first time out. It was only 1 or 2, sometimes only 1 out of I had 25 loaded in the magazine. I think they don't take 30. They might take 28 or 27. And I think the newest C Products magazines will actually take 30. But I never load them up 100% anyway. It's just a habit. But with this spring, it does help a lot. The other thing I did was I took this apart, and the plastic follower that's in here, it's I mean, these things are made in mass manufacturing. The plastic follower that goes up along here, which you can't see in here because they got rounds in it, I took it out and I ground down any sharp edges or burrs on a plastic follower. But like all the corners had little burrs on it. And you want to get rid of those burrs because that's the part that catches when it's going up here. You want like a flat face of the follower to go up along this. And it seems to, you know, with 25 rounds in it, it seems to pop them up nice and quick now with the AK47 spring in these magazines, and that plastic follower being modified, where not modified where it's changed like dimensionally, but just taking the burrs off and little nubs from the plastic that, you know, when they made it, you can feel it with your nail. It's not really that noticeable. If you run your nail, you take the follower out and run your nail along it, you can feel it. And like doing all this in here, smoothing this out in here, making this smooth, and opening it up here, and putting a couple little channels down here, just like a slight U shape where these dots are. This is a AR Stoner, probably an ASC magazine. Like I said, the follower is ASC. It seems to work very well. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if I tested the C Products magazines. So these might work right from the get-go. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure because I remember I think I fired like 4 magazines that might have all been the AR Stoner magazines. I'm not sure. And, you know, maybe I did the C Products, but sometimes the magazines, some of the magazines were only having a failure to feed on one time. And that could have been the feed ramps, but I think I got the feed ramps and the rifle all figured out really good now. I think I got them modified really good. The problem is the magazines. Now I ordered 2 C Products magazines that are 20 rounders. They sell like I think a 5 rounder or 10. I don't think they sell a 15. They might sell a 15, a 20, and a 30. And the actual new ones from C Products are 30 rounds. But I ordered a 20 rounder. And you know, a 20 rounder is actually good because these, if you're in a prone position, it doesn't stick out as much. You know, there's a 40 rounder really gets really impractical. I know some people go, hey, 40 rounds. I mean, it could be a problem too with the spring with the 40 rounders, but they stick down so far that if you're in the prone position, a 20 rounder is okay. I'll be okay with that. I heard that I heard the C Products 10 rounders work really fine every time. I think the 20 rounders also too. I saw good reviews on them from Cheaper Than Dirt. But I think if you put AK-47 springs in these magazines, and you know, maybe make a little bit of a grinding in the front right here to bring this down a little further, right, like just only where the round is coming out, and smoothing this out on the side and getting rid of these dimples where it might catch the back of the round, I think you're going to have 100% reliability. I actually did not do bad for first. My rifle was not jamming every other time or, you know, every third or fourth time. It was only had a failure to feed 1 or 2 times out of 25 rounds each magazine, first time out. And every single primer ignited with the firing pin modification and the bigger hammer spring. But I think I'm going to get this to run 100%. But I want it to run like 100% with also, say there's some dirt or dust that gets in here, I want it to still run 100%. I don't want it to run 100% under just ideal conditions, but under, you know, I mean, there's a limit to how much harsh conditions you can have. If you put too much dirt in your magazine, obviously. But I mean, if there's a little dust in the air kicking up, I want this damn thing to run 100% all the time. But, you know, several things. You know, these springs they issue with these magazines, if they're the same manufacturer takes an AK-47 magazine, they use a longer spring. Now, I don't know if that's the new C Products magazines hold 30 rounds, and they're tough to get. I couldn't find any. So I got a 20 rounder, you know. I said, well, that's good. So as long as it works, I don't care. I don't care if I went with all 20 round magazines, but I think I'm going to get all these to work. But, you know, you got to do several things. You got to knock down flatten out this dimple here, which catches the back and the edge and the round. You have to probably lower this in the front a little bit because it's going to catch right here. And this is only on the magazine, so I'm not talking about, you're also going to have to probably mess with the feed ramps where it goes into the rifle. You're also going to have to take out the follower and deburr any plastic burrs or anything on the edge of the follower that goes in and out of here. And again, of course, change the AK-47 magazines. And again, it's very difficult to tell on camera. But these, and actually ground these down already, so these were a little, this lip here was a little bit, I don't know, if you look at the upper dimension, it was a little wider than this one. I mean, a little thinner. This one was a little wider. And I just ground it down and ground it on the angle, so like where the round goes across it, you wouldn't want to grind this like vertically down. You had it like an angle like this. So this way, it's catching the flattest part of where the edge of the metal is across the brass. And they did that also on the back here. So it does appear that this is going to run 100% from what, you know, it's doing outside the rifle, and also feeding in the rifle without firing it. Usually if you feed it in a rifle and it goes in, the bolt goes in there pretty damn easy, and it's not hanging up, it's going to work when you fire it. So I'm assuming it's going to work. But these most of the magazines sold for the AR47, and I'm thinking, and I tell you the truth, I heard bad stuff about C products years ago. I'm talking, but it was more than 5 years ago. And, you know, I don't get them, but now they really, and they did something, there's something different about, I don't know, in the last couple of years, the newer C Products magazines, they're far better. So, but I can't find any 30 rounders anymore, man. These are the older ones. I think these are 28, 27 rounds. But I got a couple of 20 rounders. And to tell you the truth, 20 round magazines, that's still not bad. There's actually an advantage to it. Again, like I said, you can get lower in the prone position without your magazine smacking into the ground. You get a little lower on the ground. A little less weight on the rifle too. You know, when you're hauling around, it's a little, I mean, that's why they don't go to 40 rounders, because 40 rounders get really kind of unwieldy. But when you're talking 30 rounds of 7.62 by 39 ammo versus 30 rounds of 5.56, there's a difference of weight, pretty good difference of weight. That's why 20 rounds of 7.62 by 39, that's really good, as long as it's, you know, as long as the magazine functions reliably. And what I'm probably going to do, you know, with the springs I take out of these 30 rounders, if I have any problem with those 20 rounders not functioning well, which I think they're going to function, I'll try the 30 round springs in them. You know, but I think this, I think I already got this problem solved now, and it's just ludicrous that, you know, they're not manufacturing the feed ramps on the rifles correct for most of the time. They're not manufacturing the magazines correctly, and they're not giving you the right firing pin. Well, they did. Palmetto Arms did give me the right firing pin. You also got to get the stronger hammer spring for the steel case hard primers, the real hard primers from the Russian ammo. You got to get the stronger hammer spring. I have no problem with primer ignition, no problem extracting. Just sometimes failure to feed, and it was a problem of the feed ramps and the magazines. And it's not, anybody tells you an AR is not designed for 7.6, you know, bull, get out of here. You know, the AR fires, the platform fires a 6.8 special purpose Remington, no problem. Fires a 6.5 Grendel, no problem. Now also, you know, a lot of times you got to get the real expensive magazines from, I think, Alexandria Arms. You know, in that case. And sometimes it is a matter of, not always, but sometimes you know you get what you pay for, man. And I'm kind of pissed off though that they're, you know, but I think C Products is actually, and the thing is I don't have the newest C Products magazines, but these seem to work. These, you know, without me modifying. Well, I did grind down this one. This one I ground down. This one I didn't. Yeah, one of them I did. I didn't one. See, it's catching. See that? That's the one I didn't grind down. This is the one I ground down. See that? So I did this C Pro. I think these are going to run. I should grind this one down. I think these are going to run good. I think every single mag I have is going to work great. I think they're all going to work great. It's just a pain in the ass freaking working on them. But you will get it. You will get it. You know, it's like clamp down these freaking, this freaking bar, whatever you call it, this channel that catches. Get the AK47 springs, if, you know, maybe. But since I have some I'm going to use them. Take out the follower, deburr it. If it's hitting in the front here, grind this down. It's like on this side and on this side. And then in here, smooth out everything along in here. And especially at an angle exactly, you know, where the way this brass rides over it. So obviously this one's probably going to run 100% right here, this C Products, and probably this AR Stoner, which is an ASC with a new spring in there and the modifications. I'll bet you these two magazines, even though they're different manufacturers, are going to run perfect with my modifications on them. And that's why I've been marking them. This one's got the AK-47 spring in it. It's an AR Stoner ASC, whatever it is. These are two C Products. These I didn't touch. And this one, I'm going to do the front of it like this one. Fix her up really good, man. Well, you know what? It's aggravating, but it's aggravating because I shouldn't have to do this. But you could see all over the internet, this is a very common problem. But I don't want this to be just reliable under ideal conditions. I want this to be ultra reliable. And we're going to get it there. And I think I think these two magazines are already ultra reliable. When I get those 20 rounders in, I'm not going to do any serious modifications on them, but I'm going to take them apart and deburr the followers on them. And I'm also going to smooth out in here without taking a lot of metal off. And I'll bet you they'll run absolutely perfect. So I got two AR47s. One's got the Confederate emblem on it. The other one's got the Star of David on it. I'm a fan of both, you know, Confederacy and Israel. But you know, this way I'll have 3 28 round magazines for each one, plus one 20 rounder for each one, which should be pretty good.